It's finally here. The fixture that Wednesday fans looked for back in June when the fixtures came out. The Steel City Derby, after 6 years, is back as part of our fixtures. And we're previewing it here with our Wednesday fans. And we've got a blade, as we mentioned last week. We're also going to talk about HMRC, and we'll briefly talk about Watford, although these three must be sick to the stomach talking about it, and who starts against the Blades this Sunday. All right, then. It's back, Matt. First fixture you look for in June. How's it feel?
It's the first two fixtures that I think any Sheffield Wednesday fan looks for when obviously the two sides are in the same league. How do I feel, Mark? Terrified is the honest answer. I don't personally. I think that those fans who look forward to the game from an enjoyment standpoint, in my opinion, are looking at it from more of a neutral's perspective, because I think you can't be a Sheffield Wednesday fan, or to be fair, a Sheffield United fan, and 12:27 rolls around on Sunday and you are not going to be sick to your stomach with nerves, because it is a game where there is not any love lost between the two sets of fans. It is a city that, in all honesty, comes to an absolute standstill, and it will do on Sunday, to watch the game. And there is no, I don't mind either of these two teams. It is very much, you are divided one way or another. And that is, if you are native to Sheffield, if you've moved into the area, every single person in Sheffield is and will be talking about it this entire week and for the week after. And again, if you're on the positive side of a result, you can talk about it all the way through until March. If you're on a negative side, you just can't wait for the next week to be over and then just another round of fixtures. The only problem is we've got a bloody international break coming up, so it'll last for a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and of course we're recording this before the Norwich game as well, so we don't even know what's going to happen there as well. Glyn, for you, talk us what it's like as an away fan at Bramall Lane. I mean, you know, the build up to it, the walk in, the police presence. How does it feel being a?
It's there's nothing like it, is there? It's you know, the like Matt's just said, the nerves, the excitement, the fans going at each other inside and outside of the ground, you know, the overall atmosphere. As a season ticket holder that goes week in, week out, I was unable to get a ticket. You know, my points didn't allow me to get it until like 2 days in. I thought absolutely no chance, and they've all gone, unfortunately. So I'll be watching it from the comfort of my own home this time, unfortunately. But it's electric, isn't it? And as positive as United are at the moment, and it and this as Wednesday are, it matters not for this fixture. You know, even if it was a cup game and Sheffield United was still in the Premier League, or we were in the Premier League and one of us was in League One, League Two, it matters not. It's all about the fixture and what's to come over the 90 minutes. And I'm as nervous as every other Sheffield Wednesday fan out there, to be honest.
Okay, us neutrals are going to enjoy it. Andrew, you've seen a few of these games in your past. Which one is your favourite? Is it the Boxing Day Massacre?
Most famous one at Hillsborough, Boxing Day Massacre of 1979. We stuffed them 4-0, hit the bar as well. It could have been 5-0. And that was at Bramall Lane that year, Easter Saturday rather, then we drew 1-1. I've never seen us win at Bramall Lane, sadly. Terry Curran there scored a great goal when we drew there that season as well. Obviously, I lost my voice, as you know, but we are absolutely determined to get a result there Sunday. We're not going to want to lose there Sunday, whatever happens, you know, because they are cock-a-hoop now. They're at the top of the table. We've been lower down. Despite that, our crowds have rivaled theirs. We've still got a bigger fan base than they have. They've only given us 4,500 tickets for this match. We used to take double that there. I was there with absolutely double heaving Wednesday fans down that ground. I'm desperate we're going to get a result, and really hope that our players play out of their skins to get a result there and don't let them abuse us next Sunday. I'm very hopeful. Very hopeful.
Okay. All right. Now be nice now. We'll bring in a Blades fan and get his point of view on. I said be nice.
He can see it. He was there, I hope, as well.
Welcome, Shex, to Where Owls Walk. Very brave of you to come on, so thank you very much. Just to get the Sheffield United perspective on this, they've just lost 6-2. You're heading to the top of the league, so surely this is a foregone conclusion, isn't it? On Sunday.
No, I don't think it's a foregone conclusion. I think we're better side. I think league table shows we're better side. But like I said previously, I don't think that's going to mean that we're going to win. Just because anything can happen in a derby match. You know what I mean? Wednesday could roll up. That 6-2 defeat could have hurt them. They could be hurting from that. We could be too cocksure, if you like. We could be too confident, and then obviously they could get a result. It's not a foregone conclusion. Anybody that thinks it is a fool. I mean, bookies aren't from Sheffield. Bookies aren't at games. Bookies are just going on what they see in black and white. But bookies don't dictate what happens. You know what I mean? What dictates what happens is them players on that pitch. And like I say, I think that 6-2 defeat, what they've just had, although that were obviously horrific if you're a Wednesday fan, that might help them. You know what I mean? That might. You know what I mean? Danny Roll might have got him in there and get him bollocking of the life if that makes any sense. And then they might be hurting from that. And they've got to go out and prove a point. I should imagine a lot of them are playing for the shirts after that game.
Is it a game that you can enjoy as a home fan?
No. I won't be enjoying it, mate. I'll tell you straight. I'll be walking through that turnstile at about 12:20, and I'll just be praying with every like fibre that I've got that we don't lose that game. I'm one of them that can take a draw, because if it's a 1-1 draw, I think everybody goes away and then we sort of forget about it till March. But anything but a defeat, and I'm sure these lads will set safe.
Absolutely, yeah. The last two have been 0-0, haven't they, as well? So we want a better return this time than that. All right, then I asked these lot for their favourite memory of this derby. So it's only fair I ask you, Shex, for your favourite derby memory.
I mean, there were one. I mean, obviously when we beat them 4-2 at Hillsborough not last time, we went one before that. But there were one where we won on a Easter Monday, I believe it were. I think we beat them 2-1. Jaffo and Asaba scored. And I just remember Wednesday fans singing "You'll Never Beat Des Walker," and then Jaffo rolled the ball past him and then he scored. And Jaffo were awful. I'm going to be honest with you, Jaffo were awful. But he did score at Hillsborough and he did get a winner. So, but like I said, I've had some horrible memories. I've been to Hillsborough when we've been battered. I've been to Bramall Lane when Tud guys put one in top corner, and I've just sat there and I still can't believe it went into this day. You know what I mean? So my best memories, I've got a couple, but evil memories, I've also got a couple as well, which is why I'm petrified of Sunday.
You always remember the worst, don't you? You always remember the worst.
Yeah. All your mates and all your family and that, they don't let you forget them either, do they?
No.
Shax, were you at Wembley in '93?
No, mate, I'm not that old, pal. Obviously, I can see that you either look like Mark before Saturday when you got 6 put past you, or you are very old. But I come on here to talk about now, not history. We're not in an history lesson, mate.
It counts. It matters.
Glenn, Mark, it's been lovely to chat to you. All the best for Sunday. I hope that you two.
Bye.
I hope you two have a good Sunday. Enjoy match. Like I said, if we get a draw, we're all happy. If you get your win, fair play to you. And I can't even see your name, but whatever it is, mate, you'll just keep talking about 1960s and 50s and all that, pal.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Shex. We appreciate you coming on here. Cheers.
No worries.
See
you later, Matt. See you later.
Enjoy the game. Thank you very much. Oh, right. I've been dreading that moment. Dreading that all week. Right, it's done. Let's move on from the derby. Let's talk about HMRC for a second, shall we? Oh my goodness! Just when you thought it was safe to go into the water, as a Wednesday fan, Glyn, what's gone on here?
I'm sick to death of it, Mark. I'm not going to lie. I remain positive through thick and thin, being a Wednesday fan, and you know, if you forget to pay your gas bill or your electric bill, and you think, I forgot to pay my bill, and you pay it the month after, or whatever, that's a mistake. It happens. But to do it year on year, time and time again, it's absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? It's frustrating because you can't. The time, obviously, it's come from HMRC. It's direct from them, but the timing of it, the week before the derby, things are looking up, things looking positive. We've got a manager that that finally understands the club and wants to take us forward. We've got everything going in the right direction, other than odd results here and there, which I'm sure we'll come on to. But no, it's purely bad ownership, Mark. There's no two ways about it. Apparently he's waiting for funds. I'm waiting for funds. Well, we're not in five-a-side leagues playing at goals, waiting for somebody to turn up and pay the subs. This is the championship team that's ex-Premier League. A massive club that has 30,000 fans there week in, week out. I'm not having it. It's absolutely disgusting.
There's a couple of commentaries that said this was almost the same timing as last year. It almost feels deliberate in that sense. And also, this is definitely going to be temporary. I'm just not sure how anyone could come out and say it is going to be temporary, given that you don't know, obviously, Chansiri's bank account. Matt, what's your view on it?
This is the 5th unpaid tax bill in 9 years of ownership, which tells you everything you need to know, Mark. This is not transfer fees. This is nothing to do with that. This is tax on players' wages and running the club. Glyn put it right. If you've got an electricity bill and you know it's due on a particular date, the money just comes out your account. The money should be in the account. The money's not in the account. To sit there and say, I know we're talking a different level of wealth here in terms of like what we're talking about. However, paying your taxes is not just any prerequisite of any sort of walk of business ownership. It's any sort of walk of life for a British business, British-based individual, like a club that's associated with it. There's no ifs or buts around it. There has been some ideas floated around that actually lots of businesses do this outside of football as well as in football to try and kind of like extend the opportunity to get that cash flow into the club. Problem is, cash flow has been an issue at Hillsborough since 2018. And he as an individual, it now feels a little bit like we are, again, to borrow a relatively new term, obviously, it feels like as fans we're being gaslit a little bit in terms of the chairman holds this over you to say, well, look what happens if I don't pay it. Because this time last year, effectively, fans were official statement from the club came out saying there are 20,000 fans at Hillsborough week in, week out. If you all put £100 in, this will be paid off tomorrow. If you want to save your club, do it. And then 24 hours later, he pays the bill. Yeah. Now, that to me feels very much like, look what I can do if I want to. I can run your club into the ground. Now, personally, do I believe that he is going to run the club into the ground? No, because I feel his opportunity to do that was during COVID, when it would have been much easier to just cut your losses, sell all of the assets, strip it completely, and just do what sadly went to happen to Bolton and Bury around that time. That isn't what I don't believe Chansiri is trying to do that. I believe Chansiri is trying to wrestle back some form of control that he feels he's completely lost by doing this. Ultimately, it is just yet another mark of poor ownership, and I would argue with anybody until I'm blue in the face that Sheffield Wednesday is the worst run club in the EFL.
Andrew, Tim says, I wonder if the recent HMRC shenanigans has had any impact on players' wages being paid. That performance, referring to the Watford one, of course, was half-baked. And Paul adds, what a week to be a Wednesday fan. Chairman shows yet again he's not capable of running the club, and the players produced one of the worst performances in years a week before the derby. Do you think the two are connected by any chance?
I am not having it. This match, I've been arguing with quite a few Wednesday fans about the game at Watford. It wasn't the worst performance. I've seen far worse performances than what we saw there. That match on Saturday, first half, we were the better team. We could have gone in at half-time 3 goals ahead quite easily. Their goalie made very good saves. The stats of the match, right? I'm going to read them back to you as well now. I know what the score is. Stats. We had 14 shots. They had 16. We had 6 shots on target. They had 8 shots on target, 2 of which were the penalties they scored. They were given penalties. We were denied a blatant penalty as well, Johnson, when he was fouled. We had 7 shots off target. They had 6. Our goalie made 2 good saves. Their goalie made 4 saves. We had 6 corners. They had 2. Where on those stats does it say to us that we played very poorly? That's a load of twaddle. I don't think people watching the same game as me. The changing point of that game was those 2 penalties. When they were given, the match changed. They went in, they got their tails up, Wednesday's heads dropped. And after that, it's a different game altogether. But it wasn't our worst performance in years. It's an exaggeration just because of the scoreline. 2-6. Yes. Facts of the match. No. Wrong.
Okay. Other points of view on that one. Dan says, Matt, if you just play the ball over the top, you're beaters. It's that easy. And lots of people calling out Danny Bell's high line. And I'm not sure whether he's watched anything of Watford, because if he has, and if he talks to the same Watford fans I do, they'll tell you one thing they've got going for them is pace up front. So the last thing surely you do as a manager is play a high line against a pacey front line, but it still went and did it anyway.
Don't know. We did it against Brentford on Tuesday, and other than for some poor finishing, personally, I feel that Brentford would have capitalised on that. You saw for the Brentford goal for that one on Tuesday, we were playing a high line. I know it's ultimately it's a teenager at centre half who wouldn't regularly play, but you're still playing a high line. That's still an instruction from the coaching staff. I think there's two schools of thought to look at it. One is to say that it's incredibly brave from the manager, that he's not trying to kind of change the game plan and he believes that it will fully work. The other school of thought, which is, I suppose, a much more traditional English football way of thinking about it, is you concede 2 penalties and they are still getting in behind here and hurting you. You've got to stop the bleeding. Yeah, I think it's an issue that we've played, but I do also feel, I'm sorry, Andrew, I have to disagree on the second half performance. I agree with you about the first half. I will take all of that. I think in terms of the second half performance, it's the worst collapse that we've seen since Huddersfield, since Ipswich. Yeah. I'd argue Sunderland was slightly different, but like Huddersfield and Ipswich were absolutely hideous performances, and it was because we didn't change shape or system. We just kept doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. For me, I think the high line is absolutely fine when you've got your first choice centre halves there. I think when you place Dominic Iorfa at the heart of that defence, I think he is much like I'm likening him to Carl Walker here, but in terms of like Dominic Iorfa is known for his pace, and his pace gets him out a lot of tricky situations, but that pace gets him out of those tricky situations in wider areas of the pitch rather than the centre. You can't be letting centre halves have you can't be letting centre forwards have a clean run on you from 30 yards. I mean, the penalty that he gave away is a prime example. He's the wrong side of the defender. Whether people feel it's a foul or not is by the by. He runs into the back of the player feels contact, he goes down. It's a penalty. You look at the I think it was the 5th goal that Watford's, the 5th or the 4th, sorry, I lost count, they scored so many. It was either the 5th or the 4th goal where it was the Bayo chip over James Beadle. The ball's played down the side, not actually over the top, but it cuts out all of the centre-backs, and he's clean in from 40-odd yards out. And, credit where it's due, it's an outstanding finish. But yeah, it's an issue that we need to solve. But again, I don't think it's one that we currently have the players capable of solving with who's available to us. Do I think we will play that way on Sunday? Not sure, is the honest answer. I do think that it is nice to hear a manager come out and recognise how important it is, because we have had managers in the past who have tried to play the Steel City Derby down. I do think that we will see a performance that is much more akin to the one that we had, say, at Coventry away, where we are deeper, where we do sit in, because we do recognise the threats that Sheffield United have in a lot of forward areas, and we do choose to sit back and try and hit the team on the break. But again, I don't think you can play that way at home, and at the minute, I don't think that that's the way that Danny wants to play the majority of his games. I think it's more a one-off.
Okay. Glyn, if you can, with brevity here, pick the... let us know who needs dropping, who needs starting. I mean, this is the starting 11 against Watford. What would you change for Sunday?
I'd go 3... I've written it down. 3-4-1-2. Valerie, Iorfa and Bernard, back 3. Paul, Bannon, Charles and Johnson, and Windass, Smith and Ugbo, just to give us options to get goals, to be honest. I know that was the lineup, but it wasn't a 6-2 game, but it definitely was a 5-1 half, and 45 minutes doesn't define a season. So we lost fair and square in the second half. We were awful, but it happens.
Penalties. It was 2 penalties, and even then, Palmer missed an easy chance which he should have scored, and that could have made the game 4-3. And then the last 10 minutes could have got very interesting. But he missed, and obviously they went on and got 2 more goals. But Bayo played a game out of his skin. This Bayo guy got all 4 goals. We need a goal-scoring striker like him in our team. But maybe it might be a one-off thing.
First off, we put some absolutely outstanding football together. Premier League moves that you see, in German leagues. Real classy. And if we put the ball in the back of the net, we're in front. That were non-existent in the second half, and unfortunately, we have got that performance in us as a team. So, it's the way it is. It's the way it is. But we lost fair and square. We got beat well, and we have to move on.
All right, let's turn the page then on Watford. Let's never talk about them again until the last day of the season when you have to go to Watford. Hope you don't need anything at Watford on the last day of the season. My goodness.
6-2. 6-2.
I know them very well. I used to handle their account. I was manager of the British Airways office in Watford. I think I told you this story before, so I know that club very well.
With respect then to Bonfire Night, last question we have for you this week is which one player needs a rocket up their backside and quickly? Who's not firing on all cylinders so far for you as a Wednesday fan this season? Drop your comments for this below. Andrew, we'll start with you. Who's not?
I was going to keep repeating his name. Keep repeating his name. Sorry. The last goal he scored for us was against Grimsby. Ugbo. I don't see what Ugbo is doing there when he's on there. He's got to start scoring goals. Otherwise, good night.
Okay. Matt?
Anthony Masaba.
Glenn?
Sorry, Mark. He's a regression of so far past what we saw last season. Like, he can't run in a straight line anymore, and that was his only skill before.
I would agree with Matt, but I'm going to choose somebody different, and unfortunately, I'm going to say Jan Valery. For whatever reason, them initial performances have dropped well off, and we know he's got it, and we know that he can do it. So for me, a rocket up his arse to get him back to where he was, Jan Valery.
Okay. All right. I'd say enjoy this weekend, but I know you're not going to. Score prediction, Andrew, before we go?
Well, I'm going to say 1-1, but I want to win. But I'm going to say 1-1. I hope we beat Norwich, first of all, tomorrow night. That will help matters.
Okay. Good luck. We'll review it all next week. Have a great week.